yourselves for the clerk so that she can put you in the minutes that you were attending? So we'll just kind of go,
I'm first. Lucky me. How you doing? My name's Gary Holder.
thank you. Yeah, we're good, we'll be back to you.
George Flutie?
Thank you.
Nancy Allison.
Thomas
Okay,
Murray.
guys, hold on.
Oh. Okay. I caught up.
Thomas Murray.
And,
Jeannie Trevani.
thank you.
Dave Bryant.
I didn't catch her name.
Would you just repeat?
Sure, Jeannie
She-
Trevani. I'm not on it.
Okay, thanks. Joe, thank you, Joe, for coming. So I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting on March 2nd.
Motion.
I'll second it. Okay, we're gonna take Mr. Brandt first. He has been, we've been kind of going round and round and round with his appeal. We finally heard from Joe, and Joe, I just want you to confirm that you had a conversation with Mr. Brandt that told him that he was all good.
Right.
Okay, so Mr. Brandt is appealing a fee that the code enforcement office failed to notify him about. He is number 7 on our list, and I would like to make a motion that we vacate that fee based on the miscommunication by the code enforcement office. Thank you. Phil seconded. Are there questions? Okay.
Chair Marzak,
Yes?
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson, no. Commissioner Toby,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartley, no,
It's not here.
and that's it.
Okay. Thank you for coming in. We will, you're all set.
Oh,
We
Okay.
have vacated that fee.
okay. And then I can just come in and pay the new fee tomorrow?
Yes. I'll
Yeah.
notify the finance office tomorrow morning.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, so now we'll take, do we have anybody here from Wilbur and Clark? Okay, we're gonna jump over them to Mr. Sluty, you're number 2 on our agenda. You have pictures in your packet, right here, of the garage at,
10 East End.
10 East End Avenue. And, would you like to, it should have been right at the beginning of your packet. It was a
It's a folded.
long, a long sheet like this, kind of folded. Well, we can, yeah, great. So if, John, if you would like to speak on the condition of the property, we have a letter to Mr. Sluty, that's on the other side of the picture, which we will get back to.
So this one, I was at an inspection next door, and I was with a neighbor, and I saw this garage on his property. We have another issue at this property, so I had been there previously, but I didn't notice the garage until I actually did the inspection next door. And I saw the roof collapsed, and I spoke with the neighbor, and I said, "How long has it been that way?" And he said, "Well, it's been collapsed for a bit." He said there's actually a car in there too, and I just took this photo, and that alone kind of speaks to the building is caving in on itself, so we wouldn't consider that a safe building at this point.
Let me just speak for a minute about Chapter 92. The Board of Public Service has kind of a unique function in that very few other municipalities have this consideration, that we are sort of a quasi-judicial board determining after the code enforcement office has declared something to be unsafe. There are criteria in the code that we follow. What I do with my copy, but anyway, and so Mr. Sluty, when you saw the list, the B, C, D, H, and I, those are the criteria that the code enforcement office has identified as being things that would make this property unsafe. I'll read those items just for the application of the meeting. Those which, B is those which exclusive of their foundation show 33% or more damage or deterioration of the supporting member or members, or 50% of damage or deterioration of non-supporting enclosing or outside walls or covering. C, those which have improperly distributed loads upon the floors or roofs, or in which the same are overloaded, or which have insufficient strength to be reasonably safe for the purpose used. Those which have been damaged by fire, wind, or other causes so as to become dangerous to life, safety, morals, and the general welfare, or general health and welfare of the occupants or of the people of the city of Oneonta. H, those which have parts which are so attached that they may fall and injure members of the public or property. I, those which, because of their condition, are unsafe, unsanitary, or dangerous to the health, moral, safety, or general welfare of the people of the city. So those are the criteria that the code enforcement office has identified. And I drove by the property, I took a look at the garage. Yeah, seems like those are the criteria that match. So it's kind of your turn. We have a two-step process, and that is we determine whether it's unsafe based on our criteria, and then following, we determine what the remedy is. And we've been given three choices in the code. We either order it vacated, we order it repaired, we can do those two together, or we order it demolished. Those are the three choices that we have in Chapter 92. We haven't determined yet, based on our vote, whether it is unsafe. It's your chance to say yay or nay, but we're not ready quite yet to talk about a remedy. So, well, do you have?
Yeah, I agree that the building is in such a state of deterioration that it needs quite a lot of attention, one way or another. And my whole thing was, and speaking with the codes people and John the last time, I want to make sure that nobody's going to get hurt around it, and nobody should be around it but myself personally. The first thing I want to do is stabilize it so it will go no further until I can take the steps that working with the code people or on the recommendation of the board can be taken and in the best manner.
The basketball court there seems like for a minor, doesn't look like a basketball for an adult. So are children living close by?
No.
Because I didn't have time to let you know, so.
Yeah,
This
I
is
mean,
not
there
the
are people who live next door.
so
Oh
this
yeah,
is not a
I have
basketball-
neighbors, yeah, but they're
Yeah, so I mean, where you have children, because this basketball court is not for adults, but for children. It's a plastic type, so, having this kind of unsafe building around that area wouldn't be safe for the city of Oneonta, children around that area, basically.
well, currently there are no children that, I do have neighbors, yes. I have a new resident that,
Well, let's determine first whether it's unsafe, and then we can talk about the remedy, because there are a number of them. So, I would make a motion that we declare this property unsafe based on B, C, D, H, and I of Chapter 92.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Further discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Chair Herzog,
Yes?
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Toby?
Yes.
Okay, having determined that it's unsafe, we can now talk about remedy. And Commissioner Toby is correct that one of the dangers, you may not have children in your household, but one of the dangers is that when you're not there, a child can, or
Wander
some-
through.
Right, somebody can come up close and, you know, there's quite a bit of broken stuff there. So it would seem to me that we first, well, we can ask the code, what is your desire for this?
I mean, that's a demo at this point. So, we've got, I think, restricted access on this side. There's vehicles in front of this, that I think may not be operable at
Another
this
issue.
point. So he'll have to get those out of the way and then probably demo it. I don't see as where you could save this.
How bad is it, really? Because all I see is.
It's got a collapsed roof. It's
Oh.
totally collapsed. And
I said there was a vehicle inside.
there's a vehicle inside, I believe.
Well, of course, the first thing we're concerned about is the public. So it would be, I would certainly recommend that we secure it somehow so that people can't approach it. You know, whether there's some, temporary fencing go around it so people can't get up close. Certainly empty it. All of our garages have things in them that we aren't, that are like oil
And there for a while.
What is your plan? Now it's your turn to tell us what your plan is.
I can do a temporary fencing, like 6 or 8 feet of whatever, chain link, and just to keep children out of it. And I can make sure that nobody gets into there except through my own yard access first. And then I planned on taking it down for at least 4 feet. Taking down to remove the debris from the roof and the deterioration from the wall panels. And then if the code people are willing to look at, once that's done, if the code people are willing to look at it and go along with what my proposal is to at least reconstruct at this point, I'll work with them. And I will abide by their decision.
So what do you?
If it's lowered, in other words, if it's lowered, nothing is gonna collapse beyond the safety fencing. I have about 10 feet on one side, on the nearest side of the neighbors, and the rest I have sufficient.
I think we'd be looking for a date. So if it's not completed by that date, I bring it back to you. But obviously you'd want to secure it as soon as possible. Which I would think, 10, 15 days, you could get that done?
I have the other issues with the vehicles that I'm working on too. I have until the 19th with the city on the vehicle issue. So I would ask for maybe a little bit more latitude on past the 19th, maybe the end of the month.
Well, the securing it is running even temporary fencing, the deer kind of fencing around it, just so that people can't get up close to
Right.
it, and especially the door, which looks like it's pretty dangerous, right? And then within 60 days, we'd like the roof off. It seems to me, is that sufficient for you? And it cleared out so that there's nothing hazardous in the garage. The front door taken out certainly, because that in some ways is the most
There's glass,
dangerous
yes.
part. It's, there's enough that can fall. And maybe what we could do is, he could secure it, we could give him 60 days to do that, and then bring it back, and we can order it demolished if there's no saving it. That, the reason, and I'll say this to Mrs. Allison, the process for demolishing a building in the city of Oneonta. It's quite complicated with the planning board. You have to go to the planning board, you have to provide drawings, you have to provide, they have to do environmental quality review. There's usually a public hearing. It takes quite a while. We have determined that to demolish a building, we can be of assistance because we can order it demolished and then you don't have to go through that process. That is the one
Option.
option of getting to demolish quickly when everybody's in agreement. So we could get to the point of safety, it seems to me, and then have him come back and we can have some, although you may want an engineer to take a look at it, I don't know.
We'd probably have to see how he wants to save that. But yeah, I'm sorry, what was the deadline for securing the premises of it?
Oh, well, I would say, 10 days,
Okay.
right away. I mean, I'd like it tomorrow.
Okay.
Even if it's just something temporary, just to get the public on notice that
Right.
it is, that they'd be trespassing if they went. I mean, they would be trespassing anyway, but our little neighborhoods are so close by each other, our
Yeah, it's
yards are not
50
big.
feet, yeah, it's a 50-foot
We don't
yard.
want anything to happen in the meantime now that, because we begin to to assume some liability once we've declared it unsafe, and we don't wanna do that. We'd
Right.
like there to be a safe public.
Luckily for you, there are trees there, so you get this danger tapes, this caution danger tapes, just with the trees round and all of that. That could.
Yeah, and then a permanent, something more permanent. So I would say, secure within 10 days.
A perimeter, safety
Right.
perimeter,
Take the roof off within 60 days.
that's
And
doable.
return, we may not have a June meeting. It may be the week after, so I can't give you a date in June, but let's say at whenever our next meeting is, we'll come in and we'll talk about it again, and you'll get a notice of that. Is that sufficient for you all? All right, so based on a determination that the building at 10 East End Avenue is unsafe, this garage, I would make a motion that we, on the basis of what we just discussed, I won't repeat it all. Second?
I second.
Okay. Chair Marzak?
Yes.
Commissioner Livingston?
Livermore?
Oh, this one's not here, sorry. Livermore
Yes.
and Toby.
Yes. Okay, thanks. Work with the code enforcement office, they'll keep
I will.
us
I will.
abreast of where you're doing it, but please, tomorrow or as soon as possible, just get something around there, just to protect yourself and us.
I'm sure my neighbors would allow me to be, even if I encroach on them, just so that anything tall enough is not gonna fall on
And
anybody.
also, nobody can get inside, we worry about
Right.
somebody accidentally.
I can close off the front real easy, yeah.
Good.
All right,
Good,
thank
and
you.
we'll hear from you in 60 days.
All right, thank you, board members.
You're welcome.
And
Now, our
I'll be in
next
touch
item
with
is,
Oh.
Mrs. Allison,
I'll be in touch with
2930 Otsego Street.
Or if I get,
We also have photographs of that. This is a shared garage. Oh, yeah, you know that garage. So the code enforcement office has identified A, B, C, D, H, and I, and those are the same as the last property, except that A, those whose interior walls or other vertical structural members list, lean, or buckle to such an extent that a plumb line passing through the center of gravity falls outside of the middle third of its base. This should have been right after Mr. Sweetie would you guys like to speak on this one?
Same situation. She's in agreement. She wants to take it down. It's a shared property. I don't believe there's any intention to share a building anymore. So,
But it's on the property line, isn't it?
Yes,
So half was on your, right,
yeah,
That's what it looked
it's
like.
1 unit, yeah.
right, on the
Yes.
property line.
Yes.
So it happens so often in the city.
and it's deteriorated. I mean, you can tell the center support looks like it's about to go.
So based on the desire of the property owner and the recommendation of the code enforcement officer, I would like to make a motion to declare the property unsafe based on A, B, C, D, H, and I. Thank you. Further discussion on the unsafe nature of it.
Did you say she wanted to demolish?
Hmm?
I thought I heard you say she wanted to demolish.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten to that yet, so first declare it unsafe and then we can agree with the property owner. So, are we ready to vote? Any further discussion? Okay,
Jim Marzak?
yes,
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Tobey?
thank you. So, you wanna demolish it, do you have a timetable?
Not really, but soon as possible. Yeah,
Shall we say 60 days for you as well?
That
That
sounds-
gives you some ability to get a contractor.
correct.
The code states that, property that is more than 50% deteriorated can be automatically, declared to be demolished, so I think that's where we are. And I make a motion that we order this property demolished within 60 days at the request of the property owner.
Okay. Jim Marzak?
Yes,
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Tobey?
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You can get a demolition permit from the code enforcement
Okay.
office, and that will authorize you to go ahead with your plans. Keep in touch with them. One of the things we are concerned about is that any debris be removed, and we should have included that in our motion, but just don't let anything be left that is unsafe and could injure
Sure,
someone, especially a member of the public.
sure, absolutely. Just one correct, it's 28-30 Otsego, not 29.
I'm sorry?
It's 28 Otsego, not 29 Otsego.
Oh, it should be, it says 28.
It's 20.
Oh,
That's typo. It's 28.
yeah.
It's it's right in one
It should
place,
be
wrong in the
28,
other.
yeah.
I
right.
saw that, so if it matters, I just.
Yeah, we had, the documentation we got said 28, so but thank you.
Okay,
We'll
thank you.
adjust our,
Make sure you tear down the right garage.
You can tear down the one on 29 too.
Believe me, I know which one it is. Okay, thank you.
okay, now we have Mr. Norris. Nice to meet you. We have received a lot of stuff from the code enforcement office. It appears that you missed your deadline.
Should I read my paragraph?
I did, we
Can I state my
did, we
case
did.
here?
I'll read it for the public. We closed on this property in November 2021, at which time we were made aware we had a valid certificate of compliance. We've never received a bill or invoice related to the certificate of compliance, so the letter we received dated September 22nd was a very disturbing surprise. And that's the letter you received indicating that you had things that needed to be done.
Right,
Oh, no, that was June.
No.
Our date was June 10th, 2022. It indicated that you had things to submit
That,
as of August 9th, 2022. So the things you got were the actual invoices for when you submitted.
okay.
They kind of cleared up that Well, no, because you got one and then nothing happened and so you got another one.
Okay, so,
So you've gotten 2 bills for each one of these because the first one was a closeout for the finance office. That way it was going to go on your taxes. The second one
okay,
is the
the
second.
issue is we didn't receive them, and, the first letter we received was the one dated September 22nd, 22.
I don't know why you didn't receive them.
Well, I agree with you, but we did, there is one of those, letters that came back to you and said return to sender, because we weren't receiving the letters. And do you see the one?
That's your legal address according to the county.
That is true, that's mine, well, okay. So the issue is we're partners in this, and we have 2 different addresses. Now, this,
That is my address, but that never came, it went back returned to sender.
right, and that should be in the documentation, I guess.
So we think that's where the missing.
It's listed under your name with the county at 115 Emerson Avenue.
Okay, well, that's not where I live.
That's where I live, but
But it doesn't matter, it
it
should,
doesn't matter if we do get other bills there with
Well-
that address.
so why was there a return to sender, is what I'm saying. So this kind of gives credence to our argument that we never
Well,
got
it's
the
because it
letter.
was certified and nobody signed for it, so it went back because we send our notices certified.
So her mother's retired, she's there, she's home all day long, why?
I don't know why she
Because she
didn't. I mean,
wouldn't sign for it, because he does get other mail there, because it's,
you know, we only have, you never notified us of any different address.
oh, no, because
No,
that
that's a
address is
valid
fine, we have a
address.
lot of stuff for
Yeah.
3 Reynolds that comes to my address. For some reason, that,
Well,
did-
then,
we didn't,
But
we
we
didn't
weren't
intentionally be
receiving
out of
it.
compliance, we don't
Yeah.
want to be out of compliance.
So the only, okay, can I, so when we closed on the house, we were told there's a valid certificate of compliance, and so we said, okay, that's great, we didn't know we had to do anything additional. So the first correspondence we received
your
was,
lawyer probably should have told you.
I agree,
yes,
I agree,
definitely.
I
And
don't
we
know
have
why
a
we
local
paid.
attorney.
Well,
but-
you know, we do have these requirements, and we have what's called administrative fees, which is what you're appealing, to achieve compliance on smoke detectors and furnaces and electricals, and we also, because you live far away, we require a local agent.
Yes.
And
But we weren't aware of that at the time.
Well-
I,
ignorance is not,
okay, but that's where we're, you know.
I understand, I hear what you're saying, but
If you looked at a house, and so are good landlords we are, we've been updating things regularly, the house was dilapidated, we've painted, we replaced the porch, the lattice, we've done, our intention is to be good landlords, and it's just, this is,
And we
A
want to have a better
misunderstanding.
understanding of what we need to do,
Yeah.
so that
In fact-
this doesn't happen in the future.
so we have a certificate of compliance, and it's dated 2017, so I don't even know, I'm not sure how often we have to get it updated.
that would have taken a phone call to the code enforcement.
Oh, yes.
We
There
have
has
it,
been,
it's
yes.
allegedly, it's valid, I've spoken to John several times.
Yeah, I think I mean, this happened. I can see that it happened. I can see how it played out. You're in a good spot now. We're just trying to tie up these fees. That happened.
Okay, so we do have, we're in
So-
compliance right now? We
Yeah.
have-
You're in compliance now.
When does
You're-
that
You're in a
continue?
good spot
Until
now.
what date?
I'm sorry.
When is the next time that is up?
Well, if it was in 17, well, let me check.
Okay. But the thing, the house is always in compliance apparently, so. And I
But the inspections, this is not based on your compliance. I mean, this is not based on your certificate of compliance. These are based on requirements in the city code that ensure that the house is safe. And I think in the letter that you
November.
did receive,
November this year.
Okay.
That's when it expires.
Okay.
in the letter you received, here it is. Dear property owners, come to our attention that the ownership of the above referenced property was transferred to your name. Please complete and return the enclosed property use certification form. Please note that if the property is owned by a business, blah, 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 owner-occupied properties, rental owners, and then it goes into detail about other things that are required, like electrical inspections and, agent designation form. Apparently you got this one.
Which one was it? What day, I'm sorry, what day was that?
This is, December 3rd, 2021.
Okay. I don't know what to say.
Because
The first correspondence we received was September of 2022, and clearly the return to sender envelope, I mean, it kind of validates that we weren't receiving mail.
Except it's your valid address. We can't do anything about that.
Why would this come back to you?
It,
Because
it's a
it was
valid address.
certified and nobody signed for it, that's why.
we don't, there's, so
Because
there's,
we send certified letters and that came back.
So why would nobody sign for it? I don't
so
understand.
there's only one, I don't even, there's only one attempt, I'm not sure. Because,
Have you updated your address with
Yes,
the
we
code
have.
enforcement?
It's not coming to mind.
Yeah, we
John,
changed
update.
that.
Yeah, it's good now, yeah.
yeah, so that there's no
Prior
issue
to
in the
that,
future.
this is why this happened.
Right.
Yeah, we did, we're trying to do everything to correct it.
All right, so, board members, do you have any questions about this situation?
I don't think that, the fact that the return to sender, you know, I think that would give them a ticket if at all, there's any error on their part, then we should slash the amount, but not have them pay the entire thing. This return to sender for me, except there's a status quo before I came, that everybody follows this pattern, otherwise I think we should, give them a ticket on this one.
But the address is accurate. And so, I mean, it's the correct address, right?
Yeah, everything went to the correct address that we had.
So it's on that end that it wasn't signed.
Received.
It's not off on this side.
How
So
would you
when
feel
you-
if they were, we didn't get the letter? It
When you
came
mail
back.
something certified, if the person isn't there to sign, let's just say, even though my mother is usually there, she's 82, but, does any part of that green slip stay there saying that somebody tried to deliver something? So you should have the option to go to the post office and get it?
Sometimes the post office will.
Because we didn't get anything, like I
They'll
would
try
have gone
like
to the
3
post
times.
office.
I mean, they'll write it on that envelope. Now, I don't know if they did or not, but that's the norm for them. Also, if we sent you the certified and that came back, we also sent the letter regular, that did not come back, so somebody got it. I'm not gonna say you did, I'm just saying,
No,
we didn't get it back. so.
Yeah, because I'm at the same address for 50 years, I never had a problem with my mail, that's why we're questioning.
Okay,
it,
so
you know.
mail didn't come back, and by your records, mail was sent and it didn't come back.
We send everything regular and certified.
So I wonder if this, just because it was his name, maybe there's stuff sitting at the post office waiting. I didn't go to the post office to check. I was just assuming that the stuff was coming back and we weren't, because we weren't receiving.
Someone received something.
But maybe I should have went and checked the post office. Because this doesn't make any sense. I've never had a problem with my mail before.
I mean, why would we stop ignoring them? I mean, as soon as we got a letter, we addressed it. I sent all the forms and the letter's dated September 22nd. I sent all the forms and contacted him on October 12th. He had all the forms. I filled them out, scanned them, emailed them to John on October 12th. I mean, we were very
We don't want to
quickly
knock
responding
them off.
quickly. Yeah, as soon as we were aware of it, we tried to address it.
I don't see how we can bring the appeal.
Because of what he said about the fact that the mail was already sent and that didn't come back, there's proof that someone received something. Yeah. Would you like to make a motion? Definitely ought to make a motion that we deny the appeal.
I'll second it.
So you're saying that if mail was sent, that's proof that it was received?
We don't have to
He
prove that
has
you
said
received
that there
it.
was mail, he said that there was mail that was sent that it wasn't returned.
Why was it ever returned?
So that mail that wasn't returned was received by someone. That's where I changed my mind.
Okay, but that's not true.
We didn't receive it.
That's not true.
Jim Herzig,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
and Commissioner Toby.
Yes. Sorry.
Completely unreasonable,
So
completely unreasonable.
what's the process in November? We're gonna receive something in the mail when this expires?
So, you'll be ready for a housing inspection. If you have any questions, email works good, calling works good.
Yeah, much better than, the mail that.
Yeah. Like I said, you're good now. You're
Okay.
good now with us, we can contact you, we can send you stuff in the mail,
So
It
where
doesn't
do,
hurt to get in touch with them if you.
We was in touch, as soon as I got a letter, I got in touch with them. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not lying, we didn't receive the letters.
Okay, we have Mr. Holder here.
Believe us? I told you they could.
He has, we had him before us last fall. On 31 Walnut, we voted to,
where do we pay?
deny the appeal because.
Where do we pay the money?
I mean,
Oh,
all.
finance office.
Where?
Downstairs in
all
finance
submittals were
office.
late.
Thank you.
Mr. Holder has asked to come back to us. We still think your submittals were past the point of being able to appeal them. I mean, you were late in appealing them. And your submittals were all after the date when they were due. So, I don't know that we're going to, I don't know that you're going to get a different answer this time.
Well, I was granted the meeting because there was proof that I wasn't notified correctly. That's what I was told. And I do have, I always, ever since I purchased this property on Walnut Street, before I had Tom Rowe, work had to be performed on it. And Tom Rowe was always my local agent, which I have a letter here from him, from day one. The tenants called him when anything needed to be done or any minor problems. And then with the electrical thing, John Leograndi performed it. I was waiting for a letter from Mark Hogue, because Mark Hogue said that he was moving from one office to the other, and paperwork got mishandled on his behalf because of his secretary. So I do have the letter from John Leograndi and from Tom Rowe, and any work that was performed since I purchased this home was always licensed people through the city of Oneonta, which was ABC Plumbing with Ed Miller in the beginning. He retired, now I use Bill Finch. And actually, I had to put a new furnace in last year, when I rented to new tenants a month later, and I expedited immediately. I'm pretty much on top of it. I live right over at Goodyear Lake, so I'm up here a lot of most of the time, you know, and I just feel that Tom Rowe, he actually, the first tenant I had to tell the tenant, you need to call me, because she was calling him so much on not important issues, you know. So, and I care for the property. It's a beautiful piece of property, landmark thing. I actually won an award from the FOF a couple of years ago for it. I'm a caring type of person, you know what I'm saying? And, at the time of the electrical problem, I did have a medical issue. I was hospitalized like a month and a half. I had partial amputation, from situations of working down at 9/11 on rescue recovery. But I did secure a letter from Tom Rowe and a letter from John Leograndi stating that work was done. Like I said, Tom Rowe has been my local agent from day one till today. And like I said, I don't hire no fly-by-night contractors. It's always licensed people with the city of Oneonta.
You have a letter?
I have two letters here for you. Do you want to see them?
Sure. Okay, I'm right up here.
And it's a beautiful town, I care about it.
Thank you. I'll look at them and then I'll pass them on.
And it is a landmark home, which I expedite taking care of it, because I like history and with the landmark of it. Like I said, it's a nice town he's got here. I've been coming up here for 45 years. I purchased the house in Goodyear Lake 15 years ago.
Our records indicate that you,
Excuse me.
were due, well, let's hear from code enforcement. So the local agent designation form for Tom Rowe was submitted to your office on June, it appears 10th, 2022. And I do not have the date it was due.
November 22nd, 19. So first you ought to know that this is a 3-year-old fee. What happens is when you send the administrative fee letter, if there is non-compliance after a full calendar year and it goes to be closed out at the end of the year, we start a new fee. This went around the second year. We started a new fee. Around the third year, and it went on his taxes, and he's got a high tax bill. The problem is, we don't have the document for Tom Rowe. I just learned from Gary that Tom Rowe was his agent, and we have proof of that now in our office. But what happens is, when the years go by and the years go by, even if we have, if somebody says they're a local agent, but they haven't done it on paper, we've got that issue right now. They try to defer responsibility, saying they're not really the agent because they're not on paper. Sometimes they don't realize they've been appointed the agent. It's caused a lot of problems. That's why we need the document. I've been in communication with Gary way more in the past 2 months than I ever have. And that's what typically happens with these fees, is you get more communication out of anybody, more than you ever have prior. And I think he got caught up in the paperwork situation, and that's just how our code and the law is meant to work.
So the local agent designation 3 is
It's
an
the third
extension
year.
of
It's the
what
third,
he's,
it's the third year of that fee being levied on that property.
is,
I didn't realize that. I thought he was my guy from day, you understand, day one. I met him through church, and then I worked with him at Habitat for Humanity on a couple of jobs at times. And I thought I was over with the local agent. I didn't know, and I guess it's my ignorance then that I didn't, you know what I'm saying, to understand. I thought I was good to go with Tom Rowe from the start. I had the COC when I purchased the property, and we got the inspection again, and something needed to be done with the deck in the back, and I expedited it right away. With John, he could ask about that, so I'm not neglecting things. And as I said, I had to put a new one with the COVID thing. I had tenants that leave on me because they weren't paying the rent. And then when I got new tenant in, the furnace went, and I expedited to get a brand new furnace with true built finish. So like I said, I'm not a non-caring person. It's a piece of property. It's just a thing of miscommunication. Even the inspector Mark Hogue stated he was going to mail me something, and I haven't got nothing in the mail from him yet. That he was moving from one office to another office, and his secretary failed to do it, or whatever it was. It was on his behalf, and that's what I was stating. The first person that did it, I believe, was Mark Hogue's father. The second time was Mark Hogue himself.
How often do you communicate with him? For the past 3 years since it accrued,
How long?
For the past 3 years since it accrued, how often did you talk with him?
Who, Mark Hogue?
Yes, the person you.
When I had the inspection done, and I had to just remove the box from the, what it was,
Well, you talk to me often, right?
no, not till he
We're
came
talking
in.
about Tom Rowe.
Yeah.
Oh, Tom Rowe, yes, I'm in touch with Tom Rowe, not Mark Holt. Mark Holt was the inspector, electrical?
Electrical.
All right, electrical, sir. Tom Rowe, yes, I am in contact a lot with, absolutely, yes. Like I said, I worked Habitat Humanity, I did jobs with them, you know, doing the siding on the houses.
The
Oh,
problem
God.
is that, that these things were due in 2019. And you didn't get them in until 2022.
I wasn't in realization of it again, you know.
Right,
And actually, not that it matters to you, it's my problem. I was hospitalized. I worked 9/11. I got major conditions from rescue recovery. I did day 1 to day end on that. And I turned around and caught an infection with my partial right foot was in. I was in a hospital for 2 months, almost 2.5 months, and then I was on, because I had septic infection, which I didn't realize. I was on antibiotics and I go, my mind wasn't there, and I apologize to you. You know, I'm just looking for some, just leniency or courtesy, you know what I mean?
well,
I am an attentive landlord. I'm not a neglectful guy, and I'm not gonna lie, paperwork is not my,
yeah.
I'm not the greatest at it, but
It's 247 Corbin Avenue, Staten Island.
that is my address down in New York City. And that was another problem I had a year or 2 ago, was because some mail was going to 213 Lakeshore Drive up at the lake, and some mail was going down there. So it was a little cluster bundle going on. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate any courtesy that you could grant onto me, like I said.
And I appreciate your situation. You know, we have a fiduciary responsibility to the city not to be, I mean, we can't just say, oh, Gary, we're so sad.
Yeah,
We'll
I
just
got
let
you.
off.
I'm just letting you
we
know.
all of our documentation shows that these things were not done in a timely fashion. And
The work was done, time and fashion, the electrical box. I mean, the electric, when I first purchased the house, past COC was great to go. And then the second inspection, there was the water heater, and then the bead in the basement, the circuit breaker box was right up here. It had to be lowered to eye level, 1.5 feet. And this, and I hired Johnny and Randy to do it. And you're talking, it was a $300 job, and the fine for this is 2,000 something. It's not right. It's just absurd. And again, you know, I take care of the property, and I am up here. It ain't like I'm away and I just, hey Tom, how you doing? I go over, check on the property, make sure things are done. You know, sidewalks are shoveled, cleaned, mows lawn. You know, in my leases, tenants are supposed to do this and this and that. I'm caring. You know, and I did take a beating like COVID, 2020. I had to, no rent, no pay, and then they flew out the door on it.
And there weren't any fees then. These fees do not represent those months in
Well, I
2020.
understand.
I mean, we do not, we gave everyone free days. I mean, we did not charge, these fees do not represent any time in 2020. They were 2019, 2021, 2022, when we finally got the paperwork in. So, I mean, the city recognized that 2020 was a very tough year. So, you know, that's the situation we're in.
But the
So-
paperwork was on Mark Holt between moving from one office to another, and I'm being penalized for it. 'Cause I don't think it's right. I mean, that's how
I hear what you're saying.
in my mind, I just don't think it's fair or right.
Thank you. So,
Motion we deny it.
Ready to call the vote? Chair Marzak,
yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Toby.
Yes.
Thank you, so sorry, but we
Oh,
don't have a lot of
I'm
leeway
denied?
in your case, so
I'm
denied. Denied, thank you for coming in.
Happy Easter, thanks a lot.
Okay, now we're going to talk about 2 more properties. One
I'm
is
done?
2 Academy Place, no, you're done. 2 Academy Place, which we have pictures for. And they'll be up on the screen. And then we're also going to talk
All right,
about,
you all have a nice Easter. Thanks for your time.
we're gonna talk about, the Unitarian Universalist Society's demolition. Thank you for hanging out, guys. So this is these are pictures from 2 Academy Place, which is, this is the garage,
This is Peter Clark's.
right?
We found this when we were doing an inspection on a different property.
They are agreeable to the demolition order.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Well, if they weren't agreeable, we'd probably still be here for this. Just for clarification's sake. I mean, I could probably push it over right
Oh,
now.
my goodness, look at that.
Yeah, not much left.
Yeah, the pictures we received in the packet were so huge that we only saw a little tiny thing. All right, so are these being requested to be, or is the property owner?
We found it and we're like,
Okay.
hey, you need to demo
All right,
this,
so
and I
this is
think
gonna
they
be a
were.
surprise.
They said okay.
They said okay. Yeah.
No, we said, we found your place and it looks in bad shape, and they were like, we know, we need to take it down.
Okay, all right. So let's determine that we can declare it unsafe based on B, C, D, H, and I. All right.
Okay, Chair Merzick,
Yes?
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Toby.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So what kind of time, first of all, we want this secured, because there's obviously things hanging off the roof that could fall and injure somebody. Are there things in the garage?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't, okay. So we want the garage secured. And what timetable were they talking about?
I think we had talked about 60 days. And of course she agreed to that.
60 days, good for all of you, secured in 60 days? All right, I
Secured
make
or
the
demolished?
motion.
Secured in 60 days.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Secured.
Oh, demolished.
In 60
We're making
days.
a motion to demolish it
And secure immediately.
within 60 days, and within 10 days, have it secured, fenced, whatever, so that members of the public cannot be injured. And the debris removed when it's done. Any further discussion? Okay, go ahead.
Chair Merzick,
Yes?
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Toby.
Yes, okay. So now we are on to the UU Church's garage or building in the back. You all received the full packet with the pictures, etc. And it would have been helpful for us to have you identify the items that the criteria that this meets. But I went through the inspection report and I have determined that the floor damage, the garage door, and the sewer gas, plus the electrical, the chimney, the mold, and the asbestos, are D, those which have been damaged from fire, wind, and other causes so as to become dangerous to the safety, life, safety, morals, or general welfare of the occupants of the people, or the people of Oneonta. G, based on the inadequate stairway, those which have inadequate facilities for egress in case of fire. H, those which have parts which may fall and injure members of the public or property. I, those which because of their condition are unsafe, that's basically the asbestos. And those buildings existing in violation of chapter 300 of zoning, partly because it's been already demolished. And we can't look at it. So that would be D, G, H, I, and J. So I would make a motion that we declare this property unsafe based on G, H, I, and J.
Second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Okay, Chair Marzak?
Yes?
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Toby?
Okay, so we're gonna order it demolished because it's already been demolished. But I think we should be sure that we're giving them the fine for not filing for the demolition permit.
So it's $300 or 15% of the total cost. The total cost was $5,000, it'd be $750.
I think that's reasonable.
I mean, I wrote the fee, so me too.
Okay, so I make a motion that we order this property demolished and we impose a non-compliance fee for failing to get a demolition permit of 15% of the cost of the demolition. That's what the current cost is. I mean, this isn't
What if they come back to appeal that? And this is me just asking to.
I don't think they will.
I mean, you can't really appeal a fee. I mean, it's a permitting process.
They've done bad. I'm sure
Goes
they
out of
will
town.
accept the fact that we're now authorizing their demolition. So that's my motion. Phil seconded it.
Okay, Chair Marzak?
Yes,
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Toby?
yes. Is there anything further for us to look at? Where am I? I've lost everything here. My agenda. I think my agenda's right here. Oh, got it. I think we did all the things we were supposed to. Anything further from you all?
Do you want to talk about 174?
Did we talk about Dave Brandt?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
What is it?
174, 178 Main. I don't know if you want to tell her
What
what you
property is
found.
that?
It's got Catholic Charities in it.
Oh,
Seven-
yes, yes,
backside.
that way.
Yeah,
Okay.
the backside is 70 Water Street, so it's
What's-
got Catholic Charities on the main floor, and it has 2 floors of apartments above it.
Two floors, yes.
I responded there with the fire department on, must have been Tuesday. The 3rd floor of the building, or the top, whatever the top floor is of the building, has what can only be described as a terrifying maze of single occupancy, like rental rooms in it.
Who owns the property?
Ivy Lynn. She is, you probably wouldn't know, she has multiple rental properties. She has for several years.
She's very familiar with the rental ordinance in the city.
Her parents own China 19.
Oh, okay.
Going in there, there's no rhyme or reason to how that place has been converted into rentals. We were unaware that there were rentals up there. And we in fact have a report from 2012 saying that the space was entirely unfinished and in no way met any sort of fire safety code or... So this has been converted unbeknownst to us and occupied unbeknownst to us and is currently occupying, I don't know, between 4 and I don't know how many people. One of the conditions that I observed was the exit to the 2nd floor that would lead you to the outside has a lock on it, so you can't go down the stairs. So the only way out of the apartment is through the fire escape. So the only in and out egress of that is,
One egress.
yeah, and as far as I could tell, there are sleeping rooms that don't have windows. So theoretically, you could have bedrooms in there that don't have any way out other than the back staircase, or the back fire escape.
Wow. Well, so what do you wanna do?
We need to declare it unsafe, we need to order it vacated.
Okay, so declared unsafe,
Yes.
we're gonna have a meeting in May. If you need an emergency meeting, we possibly could get together sooner. But you gotta come up with some criteria and post the building.
I was gonna post it today, it rained, and I
Yeah.
didn't wanna stick our sticker on
Yeah,
there
right.
when it's wet, but, it'll be posted tomorrow. There'll be an unsafe letter with conditions tomorrow. We've sent a notice of violation, because we're gonna summons them to court if they don't do anything within 30
Right.
days.
So what do you want us to do?
We may need an emergency meeting.
Yeah, I mean, my intent is to order it vacated.
Well, absolutely, except that only that floor, because what's in the middle floor?
We don't know, because none of this has ever been, these units they were allegedly owner occupied, but now we're being told by the upstairs tenants that there's college students living on the second floor.
So you need to get into the second floor and find out what's going there.
Yeah, we have no idea. This isn't a rental property. As far as our records are concerned, this was an owner-occupied flat
Yes,
with a vacant third floor.
and that's
Or
been
maybe
for
third
years.
Yeah.
Okay,
The owner is currently in China, by the way.
the owner's
Currently in China.
Which I don't care that much about.
So, yeah, we don't care about it, it's just the fact that we need something done right away, and
right.
it's,
So
We have an LLC.
what does it look like next week for everybody? Looks like it would be the 13th. Anybody, are you available the 13th? You wanna look at your calendar? I could look, I'm pretty sure I'm all right.
13th is fine for me.
You okay for the 13th? Let me just take a quick look.
I'll get back to you on that, I'll try and make it work.
And so they have 4 p.m.
I'm good for the 13th. We'll have to poll our other members just to be sure.
Okay.
But if you could be here, then that would mean we'd at least have a quorum. So 4 o'clock next week, the 13th, we'll have to publish an emergency. I make a motion that we schedule an emergency Board of Public Service meeting for one property, that is 174,
178.
178 Main Street. Will you second that? Okay. Let's vote.
Jim Murphy? Yes. Commissioner Lamar?
Yes.
Commissioner Toby?
Yes. Okay, great, and I will send an email tonight to the other board members, but if you three can be here, it means that, I don't know where Dana is, she never let me know that she wasn't coming.
Spring break.
Okay, there is, pardon me?
Spring break.
I know,
Who
it's
knows
spring
where she could
break,
be.
and I know. There is one other item, and I've included in my annual report for several years, way back when administrative fees were first being imposed, there was a request on the part of our board to, and it means more work for code enforcement, but when the fees first start, when that $250 hits, that a letter go to the property owner, your fees are now accruing. It would solve the problems of these guys that were here today, because they would have had an immediate notice. If they acted, great. If they didn't act, then it's on them. And not on us saying we never heard, we didn't know, whatever, because right now we send our bills, and we send the letter saying that stuff is about to happen, but we don't send anything else until it's already happened and something, the big fees are applied. I don't know, you guys can talk to each other and talk to the administration about that, but it would ease our decision-making, because people couldn't come in and say, I never knew. How did I get a $3,000 fee in this amount of time. And it may cut down on the number of fees you get, but it also would be, make decision-making for our board easier. So just something to think about. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Anybody else here have anything on their mind? Okay, thanks for coming, everybody.
Have a good